Hello and welcome. So now we're going to be talking about the flow of the game, the flow of Civitas 2230, and where we kind of start with the game itself. We've got players set up. We have Civitas Nihilium currently set up with their two material cubes are on their reputation and policy points, and the scoreboard's at the top over here. So it starts with one reputation and 0 policy points, so that comes off the board for 0. He also starts with, this particular president starts with 0 ether, 30 ion, there's the 30 ion bars there, 30 standard patriots, there they are all in the CRC right there, 6 facilities, okay, they've been taken up, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but because we didn't get a residential zone, we've had to place this facility into our hand. So we have a facility that will only be able to be placed next to an active residential zone. We don't have a residential zone, so this facility goes into our hand. And our 2 zones plus an IZ, so IZ is the industrial zone, so we've got the commercial zone, 2 commercial zones we drew, and 1 industrial zone. And then we've got 0 CN expats and 0 material cubes. So we have no material cubes over here and no blue meeples in here that represent the CN expats, which are these cards over here. So this is the sort of setup right now. The first player in the game round with the highest population goes first. So if you look on this little chart here, this little list, this table, we have the game round that runs 1 through to 5, and then we have the specific turn for the player with this President Matt going from A all the way down to F. So how we do it is we start at number 1, we go to number 2, everyone takes turns to do their A to F on their turn like this. Then we go to number 3, then we go to 4, then we go to 5. It's pretty damn simple. It's just following that. You have to follow that literally by the letter. Literally by the letter that side, by the number that side. Really important that we follow it in this order, because there are times where you get money before a bidding round, you get policy points prior to enacting policies, that kind of thing. It all works in a timeline type of order, so it's very important that we follow it in that order. So this Civitas is now set up. We've got the 30 standard patriots here in the CRC, and we're going to go through the game round as if this was a normal actual player's turn. So first player decided based on highest overall population. That's us. Nobody else starts the game apart from the player playing a Civitas Nihilium. Each player in turn order takes their standard turn, so we drop down to A to F, enact policies and CN expat abilities. On the enact policies stage, the CN expat player may place 1 meeple onto the Nihilium diffuse dump, and that will enable them to basically say to everyone on the table that all ion that's spent to complete builds comes to this hex here. Allocate this technology to any industrial zone, that's what IZ stands for. Add 1 standard patriot to it whenever ion is spent anywhere, and at any time it comes here. And then only the Nihilium player may have this policy, and the ion is split with odd numbers, the highest amount going to the inactive stash, and the lower amount going to the Civitas Nihilium player's active stash. When all the ion is gone from this particular section, Civitas Nihilium claims a chaotic victory. That's that for enacting policies. And we don't have any CN expats, so we move on to B, which is receive, lose, and populate. When you're in this situation, receiving is where you look on, well, receive and lose is when you look on this particular chart here on the CRC. We just go on down to here, and we see how many SPs we get for our reputation score. So at the moment, there's the reputation rosette. The League of Patriots is the name of the scoreboard, the name of the UN, the new kind of UN that controls the Civitas universe. Between 1 and 5, we started with 1. So if you have 1 reputation between 1 and 5, you get 0 SPs. So we don't receive any SPs. Now if we go over to the League of Patriots scoreboard, where our number 1 is indicated with our cube, you see here on this side here, if you're between 0 and 5 reputation, this symbol here means that you lose 5 standard patriots. They disappear. They go to the stash. We can also hand in hexes. We can't draft hexes right now. That's what that logo means. We can hand in hexes for material cubes that are in play. So hexes that are currently in play, we can hand those in for material cubes. We can hand in 3 hexes from our hand for some money, or we can hand in some ion for some money, and that's up to the value of 3 maximum. So pretty damn handy to be able to do that. I don't like player elimination, so having you sort of get out of jail free card sort of zone here for when people drop into this kind of red area between 1 to 5, that's where this table here will matter the most. So we're currently gonna lose our 5 standard patriots, and I'll just show you what actually happens. So the 5 standard patriots go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the 5 go over there. Oh, I literally threw that one over there. So the 5 go over here, and then you shuffle in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you give that a shuffle and a cut if you're in real life. And that's it for the losing the 5 patriots. Now it's the populate turn. Now because this is the beginning of the Civitas Nihilium's turn, we now decide where we're going to place our SPs. So I'm going to decide to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in there. I'm also going to put 3 in here, 2, 3, and I'm going to put 2. Oops, I'm going to put 4 in there. Not because I'm playing the game in any particular shrewd way. I'm just sort of showing you for demonstration purposes what these hexes do and what happens on these goes. So we've done our populate turn. Now we're down to receive hex and see an expat bonuses. So this hex here, the CRC, if you watch the previous video about hexes, this is a hex itself. It doesn't produce anything until you start placing material cubes onto it when you upgrade it like this. So that's when you it starts producing reputation for you. When it's like this in this moment, and we're looking at this particular area here, this logo here, that tells us that for every 2 SPs that we have here, we get 2 million ether. We don't get this during the receive hex and see an expat bonus. We get this in point number 3 after everyone's taken their turn, which is called each Civitas takes their ether bonuses for CRC population. That happens because because after this particular period, we then go into the bidding phase where everyone has money to bid on cards. So we ignore the CRC during the receive hex and see an expat bonuses stage, but we do start here at the base of our Civitas, and we work up through the zones and through any active hexes that we might have to see what kind of bonuses we actually get. Now looking at this zone here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 meeples on this hex. Apologies for the untidiness of the meeples. It's very difficult in Tabletopia to get them to do anything logical. That's kind of alright, I suppose. Yeah, that's sort of okay. Press L and they sort of sit on their backs like that. I like them all standing up, but you know, I'm a purist. So okay, so if we go over here, we look at allocation. So for every two meeples we're on here for, we get 1 million ether. For every 4 that we allocate, we get one material cube. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make this is going to generate 2 material cubes for the 8 that are there. Okay, so the material cubes come over here. Bam, that's it, done. Moving on to the next hex, 3. That's going to generate a material cube. So 1, 2, 3. As you can see, it's not a power move on my part, because obviously you get more over here. So if I was going to make these get material cubes, I would just put them into the industrial zone there. I'm just showing you how the allocation rules work in the particular commercial zones and how they give you bonuses. So over here, instead of getting material cubes, I'm going to allocate this for 2 million ether. For every 2, you get 1 ether. So I'm going to go over to the ether coins over in the bank, and I'm going to take 2 million ether. 1. This is how you put it into your hand in Tabletopia. You drag it to the bottom. I think I just picked out 3. There we go. Put that one back. Okay, so that's 2. Oop, everything's going crazy. Okay, come on, you get in the hand. There we go. And then I just scroll on back, and stick these into my area there. Don't know where that one's disappeared to, but it doesn't matter. It's there. So that's the commercial zone done. That's our receive hex and see an expat bonuses stage finished. Now it's the commit to builds and upgrade. Now meeples may be moved again. The SPs may move again from the CRC at this stage, and they may go on to our inactive hexes. But a word of warning, whenever a standard patriot leaves your CRC, they are positioned into a job for life. Think of these guys in here as your kind of upper crust, your high society, they generate you ether because they pay to be in your Civitas. And think about these placed in the industrial zones as the kind of the working class, the sort of the forced labor of your Civitas. So we're allocating them, we're plucking them from the immigrants that come into our society, or we're plucking them from high society because they've dropped out of fame. Maybe they've become bankrupt, maybe they've gone to a debtor's jail, something like that, and now we're putting them to work. So we would go, okay, we need 3 on this one to allocate that slot for that one. That one needs 8. We don't have 8. And let's put 3 on the top one as well. So we then put 3 over on the top one over here. 1. Let me just zoom out a little bit. 1, 2, 3. So that's those 2 hex facilities have their meeple slot allocated. So that's 1 slot allocated. We need 3 allocated to get 1 rep during the next hex turn. But at this stage, we probably won't get there because we don't necessarily have enough material queues. Let's see. So we're now going to put 2 on here. 1 and 2. Okay, that's the ion allocated. And then we'll put 3 ion over here to allocate the ion over there. 1, 2, 3. Now that's 2 slots allocated now. That's 2 slots for that hex. That's 2 slots for this hex. Now I'm going to place the material cubes that we've got, so I'm not making it confusing. So we're going to stick our 3. We'll put 2. How many for the other one? Let's have a look. 3 up there, 3 up there. Okay, let's just leave that for the time being because we can't fill this. Oh no, we can. We'll do this. We'll just do this one. We'll do this one, and then we'll put 2 on our CRC. Okay, so that's commit to build and upgrades. The upgrade was me putting these onto the CRC. That's the upgrade part of the commit to builds to upgrade. This is allocating builds. So now we've got 3 allocation slots here. We've got our 2 ion, we've got our 3 material cubes, and we've got our 3 SPs. We can now claim on the next hex bonus stage 1 rep for this development propaganda rule here. Okay, think about it like a something being built, like the Statue of Liberty's being built and everyone's getting hyped about it. Think of it like that. Okay, cool. So that's that go over and done with. Now we go to chair the League of Patriots trade forum and perform 1 secret trade. This is different to the Nihilium player. Then other players at point E will have purchase ion, where they will ask the Nihilium player, hey, may I buy some ion? And the Nihilium player has to say yes. It's 1 ether per 1 ion with no maximum purchase. You can purchase as many as you like. And the Nihilium player, because they are part of the League of Patriots treaty, they have to adhere to selling you ion. It's part of the deal of being in the Civitas League of Patriots. So they say yes, they send ion to the other players. The Nihilium player gets ether for that sale, and that's what happens on their particular goes at point E. On point E of Civitas Nihilium's go prior to the purchasing of ion from other players is something called the Chair the League of Patriots Trade Forum and Perform 1 Secret Trade. Now you have a minute to negotiate round the table what trades you would like to do, and you can trade anything. So say for example government facilities here. Civitas Nihilium's got a government facility, and say what this player over here or that player over there has a different hex facility. I might say, okay, I've got a government facility. Would you like it? And they say, yeah, sure. I'd love something like that. So you go, okay, great. Here's your hex. Can I get a zone back, please, or whatever it is? You make the deal and it's done. The Nihilium player has no time limit on their negotiations, but they can limit other players to 1 minute. So Nihilium player gets no time limit on trade negotiations, and trading can be done in secret because of the secret embassies rule, but they can't. The other players get a 1 minute, which is policed by the Nihilium player, a 1 minute ticking time bomb in order to get a deal done. You can discuss trade. You can discuss trade out of the trade forum go, which helps that. So make sure that it's ready to go when it starts if you're players that are trading outside of Civitas Nihilium's sphere of influence. But if and then when it gets to you trading, you just make the trade happen. But if you're Civitas Nihilium, you don't need to worry about that. You can trade for as long as you like. You chair the League of Patriots. You're the superpower. You're the one with all the influence within the political structure, not necessarily outside. So the chair the League of Patriots trade forum and perform 1 secret trade. That's done. Now it's draw 2, take 1 zones and facilities. At the beginning of the game round, when you're playing at the beginning of the game, at the first game round, the zones and the facilities like this will be put together into 1 pile. So Civitas Nihilium will come over. Well, Civitas Nihilium won't do this because they'll be on 1 rep. They don't actually draft hexes when they're on 1 rep. So the first player to draft hexes, which will be Civitas Tal, will come over to this and merge these hexes together and make one giant pile of hexes. Okay, Civitas Nihilium can't draw hexes at this stage because they don't have enough reputation to do it. In order to do that, they must have 6, and also 6 gets them their 2 meeples as well when they receive on point B. But at this stage they can't do that, so the turn ends and we pass on to the next player. The next player does everything exactly the same, apart from, like we discussed, they purchase Ion. So they purchase Ion on there and they get Ion coming through to them. And then that's how that works. So plays move around all of the players, and we've gone to, everybody's done their A to F, and they've drawn their hexes, and they've drawn however many hexes that they need, and they've sent the others back. Now we move on to the third part of the game round, with each Civitas takes their ether bonuses for CRC population. Now, Civitas Nihilium have 3 standard patriots in the CRC. It's CRC population, which means however many meeples you have inside this CRC, you get a ether bonus. So I have no C and expats in here. They would count as 1, obviously. Each meeple counts as 1, blue or grey. I have 3, so for every 2 I get 2 million. So I only get 2 million on this round. So I go over and I take 2 million from the stash and I bring it back here, ready for the bidding round. Okay, so that's how that works. Every player will do that simultaneously. We don't need to take turns when we're doing that. You just basically count up what you've got in your CRC, check your logo here and gain your ether. That's how it rolls. Now we go on to the next step, which is the bidding phase and policy exchange. So cards would come out onto the bidding phase itself, and players will then bid on those cards. That deserves its own video entirely, and we'll go to the next step, which is number 5, which is the fusing of the ion, and the C and expat fuses the ion. So we'll get to that in another video. But yeah, thank you very much. That's the flow of the game. It kind of goes through the bidding phase and policy exchange, and then we do the building completes, ion sent to diffuse, CN player fuses half the ion, and then the game starts again at the game round 1 with the first player decided based on highest overall population. Overall population, not CRC population. So that's everybody there. All right, guys, so that's it for this video, and thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.